I remember that my first group experience happened probably when I was about 27 years old. That's when my wife found out about my addiction. And my first group attendance happened in some recovery groups from my church. And if I remember right, I was living in like Kent, Washington, and I had to drive all the way out to Bremerton, which was like maybe like a 40-minute, 30 to 40-minute drive from where I lived. Um, and I remember arriving, and I sat in the very back. Why? Because back then I was a shy guy, um, pretty afraid of people, and I was never someone who was willing to talk about my sex addiction. So here I was with a bunch of guys who were talking about their sex addiction, and I wasn't about to do it. So I remember just sitting in the back, and that's all I did. Um, I attended a couple times, and then I didn't drive. I didn't go back out there. It was too far away. I was too uncomfortable, and so I stopped. My second experience attending groups was with a therapy group, and it was a smaller group, and I knew the therapist because I had therapy with him a couple times, and so I was just more familiar with him, and because it was a smaller group, I think I felt a little bit more comfortable and had already gone to some meetings by the time I attended this therapy group, and so that was a little bit easier. But the third group that I attended was pretty much terrible. I I remember going, and there were these three older guys. Remember that I was about 27, and I think they were about 70 years old. So for me to relate to them was very difficult. And uh, was not only were they older, but they were also much further ahead in recovery than me. And so, uh, in this particular group, each individual would introduce themselves and then state their length of sobriety. And so they would say something like, "My name is John. I'm a sexaholic, and I'm 15 years clean." Then the next guy would say something, "I'm Bob, and I'm 10 years clean." And the next guy, I don't know, "My name is Bill, and I'm a sexaholic. I'm about 5 years clean." And then there was me. I would say, "My name's Collin, and I'm a sexaholic, and I'm not sober today." And that was super difficult for me. I was really embarrassed, really ashamed of myself, and I really beat myself up as I attended those meetings. And I only lasted again for like 3 meetings, and then I just didn't go back. It was super difficult. When people attend groups, I expect them to have, a difficult time in the beginning. However, I remember a meeting that eventually happened when I really started to get in trouble with my wife. I was basically forced to go to another meeting. And I remember entering, and like before, I didn't say a word. There's probably 15 guys in the room. And I remember at the very end, at the last minute, an individual asked me if I wanted to speak because everybody else had and I hadn't. And for some reason, that just it touched my heart, and I knew these guys cared about me, and that became probably one of the first experiences that I felt really comfortable attending a meeting. Now, I first started attending meetings when I was 27 years old, and now I'm 44, so it's been a long time. I'm pretty comfortable in meetings, uh, but I've come to a belief that I cannot stay sober without other people in my life. The reason being is that for me, I need people to call when I'm struggling sexually, which is not a major issue anymore. Um, the issues that I have now are more emotional issues, like I deal with anger and fear. And so even the slightest anger or the slightest fear, I need to reach out to somebody to discuss my anger and my fear with. And the reason is because my anger and my fear have always led me back to my addiction. And so I need to resolve that. Uh, because of groups, I have the sponsor I have today who is very helpful and insightful. And he has helped me grow miles just in the last 6 months. And then on top of that, he's helped me to see that I need to continually help other people. And I've been helping people for a long time. But for some reason, in the last 6 months, that particular idea, helping people, has become very important to me, and it's very meaningful. Now, I've been attending meetings for a long time, and I've been familiar with a lot of the things I'm saying today, all of the positive things. But it's taken me all of this time to recognize what I do today and the benefits of group. So for you, I don't know exactly what it'll be like. It may be difficult. It may be easy. Some guys jump into group and feel comfortable right away. Usually there's a little bit of fear in the beginning. It's a different environment. Sometimes it's pretty ritualistic, but eventually you get accustomed and acclimated to it, and then you do your work. And that's how you learn how to get sober.